George Martin's background. George Henry Martin was born on the 3rd of January, 1926 in England. At the age of 6, his interest in music increased by the family buying a piano. 2 years later, at the age of 8, he convinced his parents to allow him to have piano lessons. The lessons did not last long, so Martin continued to learn the piano by teaching himself. His passion for music increased, and he found himself included in a performance from the BBC Symphony Orchestra. Martin was a war veteran and used his war veteran grant to enroll at Guildhall School of Music and Drama in London. Between 1947 and 1950, there he studied the piano and oboe, and the music of Ravel, Rachmaninoff, Cole Porter, and Johnny Dankworth. After graduating from Guildhall, Martin went to work at the BBC's classical music department in 1950. He joined EMI Records and would eventually work his way up to be in charge of the label. He is most remembered for his influence over the music recordings of the Beatles, as well as signing the group to the EMI label in 1962, after the Beatles had been turned down by many other record labels. George Martin's most nominal achievements. In 1962, under the name Ray Cathcart, George Martin released a single known as Time Beat, which was recorded at the BBC Radiosonic Workshop. Martin signed a contract with the Beatles on June 6, 1962. Martin worked with other artists along with the Beatles, including Shirley Bassey, Bernard Cribbins, Flanders, and Swan, and later the American and Centren. In 2001, Martin produced by George Martin 50 Years in Recording, a 6-CD retro of his entire studio career. Martin received a knighthood in 1996, the first member of his profession ever so honored by the English crown. Martin had to stop working with the Beatles when he suffered a hearing loss. George Martin's path to success. Once Martin became head of the EMI label, he tried to find a way to make the label stand out. He began producing comedy records, working with British talents like Spike Milligan, Peter Sellers, which provided to be successful, but not world famous. During the pre-rock era, Martin also produced a variety of artists such as Australian Raul Harris, Mandy Miller's children's record, and Dick James' hit The Adventures of Robin Hood, and the jazz band the Temperance Severn. Martin also made a record himself during this period, an instrumental called Time Beat. But Martin and the EMI still were not world known. It was not until February 1962 when Martin received a call from Sid Coleman, a music publisher, who had met Brian Epstein, who was seeking a record contract for a group he managed, the Beatles, that Martin would reach the success level he was looking for to achieve.